They put handcuffs on my 8-year-old son in front of his entire school. My sister stood there crying fake tears, pointing at him like he was a monster. The principal's face was stone. 2 officers flanked my boy, my baby, while he screamed for me. "Mommy, I didn't do it! I didn't!" And I couldn't move. I just stood there, frozen, watching my world collapse. It started 3 hours earlier. I got a call from the school. "Mrs. Anderson, you need to come immediately. There's been a serious incident involving your son." My heart dropped. I drove like a maniac, thinking he was hurt. But when I burst through those doors, it wasn't blood I saw. It was my sister, Elena. She was in the principal's office, makeup smeared, clutching her purse like a victim in a courtroom drama. The moment she saw me, her expression shifted, just for a second, into something cold. Then the tears came back. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't want to believe it either." "Believe what?" I demanded. "What's going on?" The principal cleared his throat. "Your son has been accused of theft. Serious theft. Your sister's phone and wallet were in her bag during our school volunteer event this morning. When she went to leave, they were gone." We checked the security footage. My blood went cold. "And?" I whispered. "And we see your son near her bag. Alone. For several minutes." Elena looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. "The phone tracker showed it in your car, sweetie. I'm so sorry." I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her by the shoulders and shake the truth out of her. But before I could say a word, they brought him in. My son. My little boy. 8 years old, glasses sliding down his nose, confusion painted across his face. "Mom." "Baby, it's okay. Mrs. Anderson, please." The principal held up a hand. "Tyler, did you take Ms. Elena's phone and wallet?" "No." His voice cracked. "I didn't. I was just tying my shoe near the table, I swear." But then one of the officers, because yes, they'd already called the police, stepped forward holding a clear evidence bag. Inside was Elena's phone and her wallet. "Found these in your vehicle, ma'am. Back seat, under a jacket." The room spun. I'll never forget the sound he made when they put those cuffs on him. It wasn't crying. It was this animal sound. Pure terror. He looked at me like I could fix it, like I was supposed to save him. And I couldn't. Elena covered her mouth, shaking her head like she was devastated. "I didn't want this," she whispered to the principal. "He's just a child." "But I can't let this go. The wallet had $800 cash. That's a crime." The principal nodded grimly. "We take theft very seriously." They walked him out in cuffs, in front of the other kids, in front of the teachers, in front of parents picking up their children, and my sister walked beside me, squeezing my shoulder like she cared. "Kids make mistakes," she murmured. "He'll learn from this." Something inside me cracked. They released him 6 hours later. No charges filed, not enough evidence, they said. He was a minor, first offense, no prior record. The detective felt uncomfortable with the whole thing. But the damage was done. By the time we got home, it was all over the school parent chat, the neighborhood Facebook group, even local Twitter. "Doctor's kid caught stealing." That poor woman, her own nephew. Always the quiet ones. Tyler didn't speak for 2 days. He stopped eating, stopped playing, just sat in his room staring at his hands like they'd betrayed him. On the 3rd night, he finally looked up at me with empty eyes and asked, "Mommy, why doesn't anyone believe me?" I had no answer. My family made it worse. My mother called. "Elena's devastated. She feels terrible. You know she loves Tyler. Maybe you should talk to him about honesty." My father texted, "Kids act out. Don't make this a bigger deal than it is." Even my brother said, "Look, I'm not saying he did it, but why would Elena lie?" Why would she lie? That question burned in my chest for days. And then I remembered. 3 months ago, I'd refused to co-sign a loan for her. She wanted to open a boutique. I told her no. I had Tyler's college fund to protect, and her business plan was a disaster. She'd smiled tightly. "You'll regret this." I thought she meant I'd regret missing out on her success. I was wrong. I stopped crying on day 7. I just stopped. I kissed Tyler goodnight, closed my bedroom door, and opened my laptop. If she wanted to play games, I'd play, but I wouldn't play fair. I started with her social media. Every post, every photo, every tagged location for the past 6 months. I screenshotted everything. Then I went through our text history, every request for money, every guilt trip, every time she'd called me selfish for prioritizing my son. I pulled my bank records, every time I'd helped her. $200 here, $500 there. I added it up. $4,300 over 2 years, never paid back. Then I found something interesting. A mutual friend had posted photos from the volunteer event. I zoomed in on every single one, timestamps included. And there it was. A photo of Elena, taken at 10:17 a.m., holding her phone, smiling, posing. The theft was reported at 10:22 a.m. Security footage showed Tyler near her bag at 10:19 a.m. But she had her phone at 10:17 a.m., which meant she put it in my car herself. I didn't confront her. I didn't tell my family. I did something smarter. I called an old colleague, a detective I'd worked with during my hospital residency on a forensic case. I explained everything, sent him the photos, the timeline, the evidence. He was quiet for a long time. "This is filing a false police report," he finally said. "Possibly filing a false report involving a minor. If she planted evidence, that's tampering. And if she did it for financial revenge, that's conspiracy." "Can you prove it?" I asked. "If you stay quiet, I can try." So I stayed quiet. I went to family dinners. I smiled at Elena. I let her hug Tyler and call him my little man, like nothing happened. And I watched her relax, watched her think she'd won. It took 3 weeks. The detective reopened the case quietly, pulled the school's full security tapes, not just the clips they'd shown me, interviewed staff, checked metadata on the photos, and then he found the kicker. Elena's phone had been logged into her iCloud account continuously that morning, including during the time it was supposedly stolen, which meant she'd never lost access to it. He brought me into the station, showed me everything. "She logged into her phone at 10:20 a.m. from the parking lot," he said, pointing at the data. "She planted it in your car, then walked back inside and reported it missing. She set up her own nephew." I felt nothing, just cold, clear resolve. What happens now? Now, we arrest her. They came for her at my parents' house during Sunday dinner. I was there. So was Tyler, and my mother, and my father, and my brother. Elena was laughing about something, wine glass in hand, when the knock came. My father opened the door. 2 officers, badges out. "Elena Westwood?" Her face went white. "Yes?" "You're under arrest for filing a false police report, evidence tampering, and conspiracy to commit fraud." The wine glass slipped from her hand, shattered on the floor. "What? No, no, this is insane." She looked at me. Tell them this is crazy." I looked her dead in the eye. "You put handcuffs on my son." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "You ruined his name. You traumatized him. You made him feel like a criminal." "I didn't." "You did." My voice was ice. "And now you get to feel what that's like." They cuffed her right there in the dining room. My mother screamed. My father tried to argue. My brother stood there, stunned. And Tyler, my sweet, broken boy, watched from behind me with wide, glassy eyes. As they walked her out, she turned back one last time. "You're going to regret this," she hissed. "Family is family." I smiled. "No, truth is truth." It went viral within 48 hours. Local news picked it up first. "Woman arrested for framing 8-year-old nephew." then regional outlets, then national. The school issued a formal apology. The principal quietly resigned. The parent chat went silent. "My family?" my mother called, sobbing. "How could you do this to your own sister?" "How could she do that to my son?" I replied calmly. "She made a mistake." "She made a choice." My father tried the guilt angle. "She's going to prison. You're going to let your sister go to prison?" "She put my child in handcuffs." "But we're family." I hung up. My brother sent a long text about forgiveness, healing, second chances. I blocked him, because here's what they didn't understand. Family isn't about blood. It's about protection. It's about loyalty. It's about not destroying an innocent child to satisfy your own ego. And they'd all chosen her over him. Elena took a plea deal, 18 months, plus restitution, plus a permanent record. Her boutique dream, gone. Her reputation, destroyed. Her friends, vanished. She called me from county jail once. I almost didn't pick up, but I did. "I hope you're happy," she spat. "You destroyed me." I leaned back in my chair, looked at Tyler coloring at the kitchen table, and smiled. "No, Elena. I protected my son. You destroyed yourself." "I'm your sister." "You were." Past tense. I hung up, and I felt peace. 6 months later, Tyler laughed for the first time in what felt like forever. We were baking cookies, chocolate chip, his favorite. He looked up at me, flour on his nose, and said, "Mom?" "Yeah, baby." "I'm glad you didn't let them win." I knelt down, cupped his face in my hands. "No one gets to hurt you, Tyler. Not even family. Especially not family." He hugged me tight, and I realized something. Peace isn't something you beg for. It's something you build, with boundaries, with truth, with the spine to walk away from people who choose cruelty over love. My family still doesn't speak to me, and I've never slept better. Because at the end of the day, I didn't lose a sister. I saved a son, and that's the only family that matters. The truth doesn't need your permission to exist. It just needs your courage to defend it.